What's good, everybody? In today's video, I am going to be giving you my 5 tips to become a professional gamer. Starting off with tip number 1, guys, and this one's going to be obvious, but the first thing you have to do is you have to pick a game that you actually want to try and go professional in. You need to choose whether it be console or PC, even though majority of the games that you can go pro in nowadays are on PC. You need to decide if you want to try and go pro in Call of Duty, if you want to try and go pro in Halo or League of Legends or Rainbow Six Siege or Rocket League or Counter-Strike. It doesn't matter. Whatever game that you enjoy, that you think you're good at, that has the potential for you to make a living and a career out of it. That's one of the most important things. We're starting to get in the space now where, and I mean, we have been for the past couple years, but where you can actually make a good living off of being a professional gamer. But you got to pick a game. You got to, because you can't be, it's not like you're doing NFL and baseball or NFL and basketball at the same time. You have to choose one, and you really need to dial in on that specific game. Now, deciding which game it is completely up to you. Whatever game your heart wants to play or wants to try and go pro in. Tip number 2, guys, and that is you make sure you have the appropriate gear to compete. And what I mean by that is, listen, I hate to break it to y'all, but if you're playing on a big screen TV with crazy input delay, or you have a really low end PC that can't handle games that well, if you don't have a good controller, a good headset, everything, video, audio, if you don't have that, you're not going to have a chance. The reason why you're not going to have a chance is just because there's so many obstacles that you're going to have to overcome. You're going to have things like input delay, response time issues, like it's going to be slow. You're going to be putting yourself at a disadvantage, and you're not going to know what your true skill level is. And then because of that, you're not going to know how to gauge if you're improving and how much you're improving by. Same thing with peripherals, or your headset, your controller, whatever. If you don't have up-to-date equipment, guys, it's going to put you at a disadvantage, I'm telling you. So before you can even do any of these other tips that I have or try and compete, you need to get the right equipment. Luckily, there's a ton of links and articles on what you need to do and what equipment to buy. It can be pretty expensive, but that's why you just need to work at it over time. You don't have to get everything instantly, right? But if you want to play a game that is on PC, you might want to invest in a very nice PC, right? Or at least a PC with good enough quality, right? So you won't be at a disadvantage when it comes to frames and the quality of the game and yada yada. And then maybe you move on to a headset, right? Or like a mouse and keyboard. Like you can't be using the Dell keyboards and the Dell mouse. Like you can't. You need to get a Razer or a Logitech. It doesn't matter. You need to get something that is made for gaming. Trust. Tip number 3, guys, and this is kind of a 2 tips in 1, but it's the most important tip out there. At the end of the day, you have to put in the time. You have to grind. You need to practice your ass off. Okay? I know at the end of the day, right, it's a video game, and people take that as for face value in a sense, but you need to practice like an NFL player would practice or an NBA player would practice. Like this needs to be your life in a sense. And I don't mean neglect everything else in your life, right? Your health, your education, your social activity, whatever the case may be. Okay. But you need to put in the time. You're not going to make it, playing here and there, treating it as a hobby. Professionals are putting 8 to 10 hours a day in. And I know that's not possible for some people, right? Whether you have school, you have work, whatever the case may be. And I get that. I mean, I do understand that. But you're not going to give yourself enough time to improve. I'm sure some of you out there probably have seen the one Kobe video where he's talking about how he gets up before practices, then he practices with the team, and then he goes and practices again by himself, like at the end of the day. And his whole mindset was, if I put in all these hours, even though we're both practicing every day, by the end of the year, I'm going to be 4,000. I'm going to have practiced for 4,000. I'm just throwing numbers out, 4,000 more hours than you during that year. How can you compete with that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you need to put in the time, and you're going to have to make sacrifices. Like, believe me, guys, from personal experience, I was a professional gamer in Halo and COD for over a decade. There was plenty of times, and even back then, I didn't have the best balance. And I learned from it, and gaming has come a long way now where it's out there and there's information out there. But if I wanted to go hang out with my friends, or go to a party, or whatever the case may be, anything, I would have to make those sacrifices and practice my ass off to try and perfect my craft, to improve. And that leads me into the second part of this tip, and that's just watch film. Not only your own, obviously you want to watch your own film, and you want to be completely unbiased, realize, hey, what am I doing really well in this game? And okay, I'm doing this really well. I should continue to do this, continue to improve on that. And then what am I not doing so well, right? Is it communication? Is it my mechanics? Is it my in-game awareness, my, adaptation skills? I can go down the list, and you pick out your flaws, and then you work on them. You don't try to work on them all at once, but you just really get down to the specifics on if it's communication, okay, I'm going to practice my communication from here on out. Or if it's my in-game awareness, like, I'm really going to nail into that and really try to improve my in-game awareness. Okay. There's a million different aspects that go into in and out of the game, especially because most of professional games that you can compete and be a professional in are team games, right? So there's a lot of different factors, but really just zone in one at a time, and take time. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but take time to actually try to improve on the areas that maybe you're weak in, and even the areas that you're strong in, you can improve in them as well. And then more importantly, guys, you need to watch the professionals play the game. Okay, whatever game you're trying to go pro in, watch the pros, see what they do. Okay, see how they communicate, see how they move around the map, look at their mechanics, right? Study them. It's just like a sport. Okay, you hear all the time in sports, new rookie NBA players like, oh yeah, I study so-and-so. I study LeBron's film. I see his moves, I try to mimic his moves into my own style. Do that with the game that you're trying to go pro in. Okay, you find a pro who matches your play style, right? Or he might just be downright disgusting. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but watch a pro and literally pick their gameplay apart. Because at the end of the day, the pros are better than you, right? The pros are better than you. They know more. They have the experience. So you need to watch them. So practice, watch your own film, watch how pros play, and don't just watch them for the highlights, right? Watch them and actually try and learn from what they're doing on the map, right? Or, how they're communicating with their teammates, or, if it's like an FPS or a game where you might need really high mechanical skill, if they are telling you or they're showing you like, oh, I do this training every day, right, to improve my shot, or whatever the case may be. Do that. Literally copy and paste what they do into your own gameplay. Tip number 4, guys, is be willing to join a community, right? And find a team. And what I mean by that is, I get this question all the time in my streams. It's like, Enable, I really want to go pro, but none of my friends really want to try and go pro, or none of them are good. Like, what do I do? How do I start? And you have to be willing to make that step. And you might be out of your comfort zone, right? Joining a community, finding people that, you don't normally play with, right? And you don't know them. But that is one of the beautiful things with pro gaming, is you meet people from all over the world, right? With all different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, you're brought together through gaming. So don't be afraid to reach out, join a community, right? Try and play with new people. You'll find people that have the same mindset as you, that they want to try and compete professionally. They want to be a professional in whatever game it may be. And then you network, right? So not only are you meeting new people, which is obviously, that's a plus. You're playing with new people, you're having a good time, but then you'll be able to gauge your skill better, right? Because these people may be better than you, or they may be a little worse or the same skill level, it doesn't matter. And then you network, right? Because then you get into that community and you see, oh, maybe I'm improving at a faster rate than some of these guys. But then you meet someone else in the community who is better than you, but he sees where you're at, right? Compared to everyone else. And then you get an opportunity to play with him and maybe his friends, and you get into that group. And then you'll find a comfortable spot where you're like, okay, this is my skill level. I found players that are around my skill level. We have fun playing. They all have the same mindset. They all have the same drive. Now it becomes easier. Now you have your team, right? Or you're a part of this community where you can improve your game. You can find a team, and then you can actually try and compete. And that brings me to the next part of this tip, which is also a two-part tip, I guess you could say, is you have to enter tournaments. And for example, with Call of Duty, if you want to be a Call of Duty professional, there's a challenger scene. Same thing with League of Legends, like their academy teams. You need to, I don't know how it works with League of Legends, but like with COD, anyone can play in the challenger series. You need to enter these tournaments, right? With the team that you found, with the players from the community that you joined, and see how you stack up, because that's the biggest step. You need to get into that challenger scene, okay? Not just online S&D tournaments or wager chows or whatever the case may be. And I don't know if it's the same concept for other games, but this still holds a lot of value. You need to get into these tournaments, right? Because then if you're good enough, you're going to be able to showcase your talent, and then it's going to get noticed on a broader level, right? It might be noticed on, there might be streams, there for these tournaments. And if you do well, then you get noticed. And then that's how you slowly build your way up into the scene. Okay. You're not just going to go pro overnight. Trust me, it's just not possible. If you go pro overnight, you might as well, get lottery tickets. That's how rare it is. But so compete in these events, see where you stack up, right? You don't need to necessarily even do well in the beginning of these events at all, but you need to focus on getting in, right? Getting through that threshold. And whether you do great or you don't do too hot, you get in the next one, you join the next one, and then you join the next one, and then the next one, and you keep trying to improve. All you're looking for is improvement at the end of the day, whether it's a lot or a little. You keep trying to improve your placings, improve your stock, your value as a player, as a teammate. These things are crucial if you want to become a professional gamer. You have to be willing to take that step, guys. You have to be. And for the last tip, guys, even though this technically, I don't know if I would call it a tip, but this is more so just being real with yourself, right? Being very self-aware. I know it seems easy, right? A lot of people seem to think or have the idea that, oh, to be a professional gamer, all you need to do is put in a lot of work. That's it. You just need to play the games a lot, right? Put in the time. Trust me, that's not the case in the slightest. Being a professional gamer is similar like being a professional athlete, okay? Only the cream of the crop are gonna make it. You got to think about how many casual players play whatever game it is a day, and then look at how many players are in the respective professional league of that game. Okay, it's not a lot. The percentage is tiny. It is, it's that. But so understand that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Just because you put in more work than the next guy isn't going to guarantee you success. It won't guarantee you to be a professional. But use that as motivation, okay? Use it as motivation. And obviously, don't go out of your way to completely neglect everything else in your life just to put in the time and the hours. Because if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. This is hard to do. It is hard to be a professional in anything. Literally in anything, it's hard to be a professional. But so if you understand that and you use that as fire and motivation, you'll be okay. You give it your all. You hope it works. I hope it works for everyone watching this video, but you need to understand that it's going to be hard. Okay, there's going to be highs, there're going to be lows, and you have to be mentally tough. If you really want to be professional, you have to be mentally tough. Okay, you have to have that motivation. You have to realize that this isn't something that will just happen if I play a lot, because it won't, guys. It will not. But I hope you enjoyed my 5 tips to becoming a professional gamer. Don't forget, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe below. Let me know what you think of the tips. I mean, it's kind of off the top, but all of those are from, you know, my own personal experience as a professional gamer. Also, let me know what type of videos you guys want to see in the future. I love being able to mix it up, you know, go from gaming videos to some real talk like this video. But as always, thank you for the love and the support. The kid is out. I'll see y'all in the next video.